Time to turn this into a portrait sculpture armature. Armature wire and put it around the styrofoam ball. You need to have enough wire here that there's space to twist the neck and also to adhere the wire to the wood board. Always better to have too much wire than not enough. I've got my wire cutters and I'm gonna cut it right here. That's enough length. Cut a second wire that is the exact same length. I've got 2 wires. You want to add the styrofoam ball right in the middle. So you start with your wire as a big V shape. Make that snug on top of the ball. And again, pinch the bottom. You've got 2 wires. You're going to take the end of one and put it through the other one so that they cross over each other. Use a 1/16 of an inch aluminum armature wire. Put it through the bottom and you can see it's now underneath where the 2 big wires meet. Cross this over and take the 2 thin wires and pull. That is the top of the portrait. Take the wire and fold it underneath, tighten it by pulling. You can see that I've wrapped the very thin wire around it. I also like to wrap down the sides. This does make the armature a little bit stronger because then this is slipping all over the place and the clay doesn't adhere as well. For these little straight pieces, you just take your pliers, pinch them. That way the wire isn't sticking out. Put your styrofoam ball in the middle. Should look like this from the top. Pull them out a little bit. So it's no longer twisting right now. I'm going to take each side, I'm going to push it flush right up against the styrofoam ball. I'll do the same thing on this side. Where it crosses at the bottom, this is going to be where the neck begins. I'm going to just twist it. Everything starts to come together. I'm going to twist it a few more times, pull it. You want this to be really tight. You don't want to see tons of holes in there. I'll take my pliers and just pull it. Now there are very little holes. You can also do this, just pull. Take the other 2 sides, pull it over, twist a little bit more. These 2 wires, you just wrap them around this part. I like to reuse my blocks, so actually this is an old relief woodcut. If you curve the edges of the wire, I do think it's just a touch more secure. This I would use your wire cutters to bend. So now you can see every wire has a slight curvature to it. Now you're going to press down the wire so it's as flat as possible. This one is too long. Cut that off. That's all now trimmed. Make sure when you're placing the armature onto the base that you are putting it right in the middle. You're going to need space around that area for the clay and a mold if you're going to do one. To add the staples, you will need to bend the neck of your armature in the opposite direction, otherwise your hammer isn't going to have enough room. The most important thing with an armature is that it's super strong and solid. The first staple, I put it on the wood board just enough so I can figure out where it might go in relation to the armature. And then I'll take the armature out of the staple. I'll hammer the staple just enough that it's not going to move around. And then I put the armature back into the staple and hammer it down. When you're hammering, note that you won't always hit the hammer up and down. Sometimes you'll have to hit a little bit from the side. Sometimes the staples don't go in perfectly straight. So know that when you hammer, you're probably going to have to hammer in multiple directions to get it straight. Because it's so awful when your armature is not strong enough and you have clay on it. You don't want to get into that situation. This is not going anywhere.